At the beginning of this year, Hari Raya Puasa and the Chinese New Year seasons coincided, so most Singaporeans enjoyed a long holiday. Norman and his family decided to spend their Hari Raya Puasa visiting their grandparents who live in a kampung in Malaysia. Norman and his family left for Malaysia on the weekend before the festivities. It was a long drive up to Kuantan, but it was very enjoyable because they drove past some really peaceful and green countryside. When they arrived at Kampung Wak Kantuk, where their grandparents were living, it was dusk. The whole village was beautifully lit up with little lanterns and little light bulbs were strung among the trees and bushes. Almost all the gardens of every house were brightly lit up for the Hari Raya celebration. Norman and his brother, Nordin, exclaimed with delight. Their grandparents, aunts, uncles and cousins welcomed them warmly and almost the whole village got ready for evening prayers before breaking the day's fast. After a huge and delicious dinner, the boys went to bed because they were tired out by the day's long journey. The following day was the eve of Hari Raya Puasa and the last day of fasting. All the adults were busy preparing huge amounts of delicious food for the Hari Raya celebrations. There were also last-minute spring cleaning to be done. Norman and Nordin helped out in their grandparents' garden by doing some weeding and putting up more lights. They were very excited as it was the first time they were spending Hari Raya Puasa in a kampung. They spent the rest of the day wandering around the kampung looking at cows, goats and other livestock. Their cousins also brought them to the river to do some fishing. On that night, they were allowed to stay up as late as they liked. All the children had a wonderful time playing with mini firecrackers and light sticks. They were warned to be very careful about the firecrackers. Norman enjoyed playing with the firecrackers but Nordin did not like the noise. He much preferred the light sticks. The next day, they all bathed, put on their new clothes and the men went to the village mosque for morning prayers. Norman and Nordin went with their father, uncles and grandfather for the prayers. After the prayers, they went to visit the graves of their relatives. Then they came back for lunch and went visiting almost all the houses in the kampung. Norman and Nordin really enjoyed themselves as they got green packets filled with money. Norman and his family spent another 4 fun-filled and relaxing days at the kampung. When they were about to leave, their grandparents cried and told them to come back again next year. Norman and Nordin were very sad to leave but they made their parents promise to bring them back again during the holidays.